Haha, there we go. We appear to be live. Good morning, everyone. I hope you've got a cup of tea to hand. I'm pleased to report I have a Foxan mug for sale today. So we'll get the commercials out of the way right at the beginning. And yeah, hubnut.org for all your mug, t-shirt and beanie hats and sticker needs. There we go. Right, that's commercial stuff done. Concentrate on getting through the day. Right, well, hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. I've got the laptop fired up so I can see your questions more easily. So hopefully that makes life easier. But I'm going to jump in straight away with a point. I'll bring you a little closer, actually. Bear with me. A point that Patrick W mentioned on my community tab. I have a community tab on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/hubnut, and people can ask questions there, and I make posts occasionally. It's all the good. I'm just going to pop that chat out so I'm not looking at myself because that's really distracting. Oh, who wants to look at my face? So yeah, there we go. We are all lined up. But Patrick W was querying why big engine cars are so popular in Australia and to a lesser extent New Zealand. And it was only once I started driving Betty the Ford Fairmont around New Zealand that I really became aware of uh, just what you need in a vehicle to cover that sort of distance. Here in the UK, a long journey is, 200 miles is considered a pretty long journey. But, in Australia, 200 miles is just nipping next door almost. So when you're covering distance, you want torque, and torque generally comes from capacity. It allows you to keep the revs down at speed, just makes life a lot more comfortable. It's also worth remembering the roads were in a pretty perilous state in Australia, and still there are dirt roads. New Zealand and Australia still have gravel roads in quite a lot of places, and a lot of European cars just aren't built for those sort of conditions. We don't have those sort of conditions. 2CV would cope quite well, but it would be very noisy, and yeah, you wouldn't want to spend all day at 100 kilometers an hour on dust roads in a 2CV. Even I wouldn't want to do that. YouTube notifications well out. Oh dear. Oh dear. Maybe I jumped into it a bit quickly this morning. People getting adverts as well. I forget that adverts actually click up at the beginning of these things. Absolute pain. Finley hopes to see Miss Ellie and Miss Giselle. Giselle, the GSA. They're both outside. Sorry, I'm in the house using the Wi-Fi today because it just makes life easier. In a Leyland P76, no problem. Exactly. The P76 was a great car in some ways. They just didn't really build them all that well. Why didn't you opt for a GSA estate? Asks Samuel Wilkes. I actually really like the GSA estate, and really that would have been the more sensible choice than the hatchback. But yeah, that car came along. I saw how much money had been spent on that car, and I thought that will make a good buy. And so far it is, but unfortunately, as I mentioned last week, the GSA has started leaking hydraulic fluid. So I'm contemplating a change of vehicle because I haven't got the stuff here, so I've got to go to the unit if I'm going to investigate anyway. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just get another car out. So Ellie, the 2CV, may come out, or it might be Myrtle. I don't know yet, but I know a local garage that's been recommended to me where the unit is. They've said that they're going to be open again on Monday. So there we go. So there's a common question. I should probably do a separate video on insurance. I don't have a trader's policy because traders' policies tend to cover cars at a bare minimum level. I've insured most of my cars with a company called Peter S. Taylor down in the south of England. And I've used them for a number of years because they're one of the only classic car companies that will cover me for business use. And as most of my driving is sort of making videos or going to shows, that counts as business use. So they will actually cover my fleet for business use. They're not the cheapest, but their customer service is very good. Been very happy with them. The Invacar is still insured with Haggerty because they've been involved with that car since the start, and all my insurance is fully paid for. Someone on Twitter the other day was asking whether I had a policy with them. I didn't. That was purely a commercial thing. They sponsored the channel, helped me really turn this into the full-time job. So I'm very grateful to Lancaster for that boost at the start of this. But yeah, that was purely a commercial relationship. They paid for sponsorship. That's how it works. But to be honest, I kind of prefer not having a sponsor. It just makes me feel more independent, less commercially. I like it much more to be free. Right. Oh well, Sean Clark used to do a 200-mile a day commute in an AU Falcon. Well done, sir. Top cars. Do I like the Citroen AX SMD? Is that separately on the free cars, or has someone created the ultimate hybrid of those three Citroens? Not a fan of AXs, don't like the driving position. SMs, amazing cars, but I'm not sure I'd be brave enough to ever own one. Any news on the City Rover? Nothing. The City Rover is still out of action. It's still awaiting an MOT. The garage that car is at is not open at the moment. So, yeah, we're a bit stuck. Oh, Big Jono in with a very generous tea and sausage roll donation there. Thanks, Big Jono. Very kind. Matt Lewis, ever test driven an original Fiat 500? Yes, there is a test on my channel. Wasn't the best example. Had a tweaked engine. Need to do another one, I think. Is Hannah still at Madeira on Harvard? Yes, Hannah is still at Madeira on Harvard. Nice bunch of lads down there, but they're off work at the moment. They're starting to think about going back in. Here in Wales, we've got a slightly different lockdown to the rest of the UK. And garden centres are opening up. More garages are starting to open up. But really, the message is very much don't travel unless you have to, which is why I don't think I'm going to rush to swap cars around. As the car sits there, the GSA, it's not leaking any fluid, and it's only doing one trip a week at the moment. So I think we'll just let it lie for now. Why are there few old cars in the UK compared to other countries? I think one of the problems is that we get so snobby in the UK. In France, no one bats an eyelid if you drive around in a car that's 20 years old, whereas people get all snobby and go, oh no, you can't afford a new car here, which is stupidity. There may be reasons to own a new car, but just because you want to keep up with neighbours shouldn't be one of them. Do a test of a Steyr Pooch 500. Yes, I found one at a show. It was Drive It Day show. Was it last year? Was it only last year? No, it must have been the year before. Took Ellie on a run with Haggerty Insurance, and we ended up at Bicester Heritage, and there was a Steyr Pooch 500 there, which I had a look around and was quite pleased to notice it had most of the same oil leaks that mine has. So there you go. Will I scrap the Tercel if it's too far gone? But it's an option, but I don't think it's that bad, but I need to have a good poke around it. Am I buying meat today? Yes, we have to keep an eye on the time. I will have to go on my meat mission. Driving an Allegro Keep. An Allegro Keep owner has been in touch, so that should be possible. And they're really funky. Sort of a sporty Allegro, mostly side stripes, I think, but it did have the big 1750 engine in it. KD Productions, have you come across Nitro Silvia? I have met Nitro Silvia at the NEC last year, I think it was, where he had the SD1 diesel. And I'm waiting for him to finish that car because I really, really want to drive it. It's not the obvious engine to go for in an SD1. So yeah, Nitro Silvia, do go and check out his channel. He's pumping videos out at a terrifying rate at the moment. Seems to be restoring several cars, not just SD1s. So yeah, that would be good. Finley wants to see a video on how to use choke in Ellie. I think I've done a video on how to use choke. I know I plan to do one. I think I have done one. Not sure if I based it on Ellie, but yeah, worth looking at. Rover 45 Streetwise, that'll be a 25 Streetwise. The 45 was the saloon. I don't think anyone's ever done a Streetwise version of one of those. That'd be an interesting one. Scrappage scheme took a lot of cars off the road. That's certainly true. Don't get me started on scrappage. I've recorded a vlog. I'll post that up at some point. Me ranting about scrappage. John Powdrill, would you class a Lomax 223 a kit car or a 2CV variant? Well, it's a kit car based on a 2CV, so it's not a 2CV variant because it's not a factory build. It's a British company that developed the Lomaxes. I'd like to drive one. I've never driven a Lomax. Are you sitting next to a stuffed buffalo head? No, I'm just surrounded by pretty frocks. Dorset Scousers Garage. Oh, thank you very much for that donation. More adventures. Yeah. Where's the first place you want to go when lockdown is fully lifted? I'm really not fussed. I'm happy to go anywhere. I would love to go to France. I miss France, and I would love to go for a trip over there. So we'll see if I can do that. Matt Lewis wants to see more coaches or buses. Yeah, I'd like to do more. Grim Wriggler, have you test driven a Mark II Honda Prelude? No, I've never driven a Honda Prelude before Mark IV. I had a Mark IV myself. It is on the channel back in the early days. And yeah, I would like to drive some earlier ones. I think they're amazing cars. Johnny Smith found that Allegro SS. He did. If you haven't seen Johnny Smith, Car Pervert's video on discovering an Allegro SS in a barn, go and look. It's very, very good. James A is getting tempted by Mazda 323Fs. Yeah. Would I recommend a cleaner one? Well, my main problem was discomfort. I don't know if the plusher models had better seats. I really didn't like the seats. Very firm suspension. So, yeah, it wasn't all that good times, I don't think. Oh, Adal Stein has become a basic hub nutter. Thank you very much. Scottish car enthusiast, would you consider doing a bus video with a bus company you grew up with? Yes. For one of my next big videos, the tens of thousands of subscribers, I'm really desperate to drive an MCW Metro bus run by West Midlands Travel, and I believe I can make that happen. So hopefully we will. Shane Marsh, have you tested a Matcha Rancho? Never. I really want to. Someone has found a Rover 214 Cabrio in turquoise in Greece. I'll buy it. Amazing cars. Might be able to do a video on one of those next year. Oh, Philo's Garage, a little donation there. Thank you very much. If you go to France, how about a Renault Fuego or a Simca 1501? I've done a Renault Fuego, Alan. Go and have a look. I found one in New Zealand, of all places. That was unexpected. Simca 1500 or 1501 would love to do, and I do know someone who's got one, so maybe we can make that happen. Any plans to do a review on Zell's camper? That's a Mercedes camper that I have driven, very similar to the Mercedes van that Steph of iDriver Classic drove recently, but I was absolutely shattered. It was the day I'd driven over there in Tuck with her knackered transmission. I just wasn't up to doing a video about the camper van, so must get around to doing that. Revolution 11, thank you very much, sir, from Canada there. Another donation. MickPal176, would you consider a Ford Escort Mark 6 a hub nut car? Well, I've driven one, a cabriolet, and I didn't like it very much. But it turns out my girlfriend is quite fond of the Mark 6 Escort. She also loves the City Rover, so I think she's the right girl for me, definitely. But yeah, overall, I'm not a fan of the Escort Mark 6. I think the Focus, much better car, even though the Mark 6 should be more hub nutty. I just feel Ford didn't try hard enough with the Escort. And they made up for it with the Focus. They tried harder, made a better, more interesting car. Richard Sale, another £5 donation. Thank you very much, sir. That's very kind of you. Oldest car you've ever owned, asks George Johnson. Well, interestingly, I think it was exactly 10 years ago, I bought an Austin Westminster A90 from 1955. So that's the oldest car I've ever owned. But sadly, it was pre-video days. If you've ever watched the TV series Summer of Rockets, that Westminster is my old Westminster. I would love to find it again. I don't know who owns it. I don't know if it's owned by a film company or if it was loaned by a classic car owner for the shooting of that, but I want to find that car again. Bova Futura, would love to drive a Bova Futura. Car companies are talking about scrappage. Yeah, they're kicking off about a scrappage scheme over here. Stupid idea. Every business needs a boost after this. Yeah, let's not single out just one tiny part of business for some sort of boost. Will Howes watched the cute little camper in New Zealand. Little, it was enormous. Shame it wasn't diesel, but yeah, as I explained, in New Zealand, it's actually preferable to have petrol engines. So a lot of the campers over there have petrol engines. And so there we go. Ever heard of Proton Persona? Yep, we got Personas before Proton left the UK market. There are a few about. Any chance you could do a Renault 16? It needs to happen. And I've got a friend who owns a Renault 16 and a Citroen DS. And I know it would be another back-to-back involving the Citroen DS, but I think that would be a very, very interesting comparison to do. So hopefully we can do that. Any thoughts on cars that are rock bottom prices currently but set to increase? Yeah, I wouldn't linger with early Range Rovers like the one I drove, or not early Range Rovers, but the last of the classic shape Range Rovers. I think they're going to go absolutely through the roof values wise. Citroen GS, and I'm not just saying that because I've got one. I've paid very strong money for mine, and that's because I don't think values are going to go down. They're going to go up, if anything. Someone says they'd love to see a multiplayer review, and a Mark 1 Fiat multiplayer I think will become a bit of a cult car in the future, and there will be so few left that the survivors will be lauded. Believe me, it's going to happen. Where am I? Oh no, you're asking someone else where are you? I'm not going to say where I am. I'm in an attic room somewhere. Should you do Raid Tanhill in a non-Citroen? It's not the same. You've got to be in a 2CV. Would you like to own a Citroen Ami? Yes, really, this year I decided I was going to buy one of my absolute dream cars, and it was either going to be a GSA or it was going to be an AMI 6. And sadly, I can't afford an AMI 6, so it had to be a GSA. Any thoughts on getting that Citroen Dan Sleeper? Yeah, Alan Rogers, who did the incredible bodywork on my 2CV, is selling his Citroen Dan that's got a 1300 GSA engine in it. I think it's on twin carbs. And he's certainly done a few tweaks to it, so it goes like stink, 0 to 60 time about 7 seconds, and it's absolutely hilarious. And it's on eBay at the moment. Go and have a look if you haven't already. Yeah, a very desirable motor car. Needs a bit of tidying up, but by heck would it be fun. But I've got enough cars. I need to sort out the ones I've got. The Ami 6 is beautiful. It truly is. Ford Mondeo ST220. Yeah, I reckon those could become collectible. Generally, any sporty Ford, I mean, I don't understand it personally, but any sporty Ford, generally worth loads of money in the future. I don't quite understand why. Hello from Melbourne. When are you coming back down under? No idea. It isn't going to be this year, but I would very much like to go back, and definitely Melbourne, Tasmania. But I would also like to see Queensland. I didn't see Queensland at all. So, yeah. Scottish car enthusiast, has the GSA lived up to the expectations of being a dream car? In some ways, yes, it's so comfortable and yet so small. I like small cars and I like comfort, and the two don't usually go together. So, yeah, I'm liking it. I'm not loving it necessarily, but I'm still getting there. Fraser Forest has got a Talbot Samba on the road. I would love to do a road test. My dad had a Samba. We were briefly a family of 6 with a Talbot Samba. Uncomfortable days. Yes, not good. Ever driven an early Topolino? No, I'd love to drive a Fiat Topolino. It's the original 500. Oh, James A has come in with a super chat there. Thank you very much. You're tempted by 90s stuff. Choices more like Furious Driving. Yeah, Furious Driving's well into his Rovers. I'm not mad on Rovers. I quite like them, and I think the R8s are pretty much one of the best cars Rover ever made. Yeah, I think we have similar tastes, really, me and Furious Driving. He's perhaps more into the Alfa Romeo side of things than I am. Do you miss the Vale Rydal steam trains? Well, they're not running, so even if I was still at the old house, I wouldn't be watching them. Do you love screaming 3-cylinders? Yes, very much. There's a fantastic video clip on YouTube. I should try and link to it. A friend posted yesterday of K cars being thrashed around a track. Absolutely bog standard road condition. So the turbo ones go hurtling off, and there's a little Honda Today at the back with a pantograph wiper. Marvellous. Oh, John Bushell, thank you very much for that. Review of the Citroen Bijou. Yeah, I can probably do that at some point. Have you driven a Citroen Visa? Yes, I've got a Visa test, 652 Visa I drove. I've got a friend who's actually got a GTI 115, so I would like to do a video on that at some point. Worst car-related injury? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't think I've done much. I mean, nicks and things here and there. I've never had a bad injury while working on cars, despite occasional fires. If you could have any car built from new to an old design, what make model would you choose? That's an interesting query. I mean, that'd kind of be your dream build, but would I put modern mechanicals in it? Quite like the idea of an electric DS, I must admit. The Mira TRXX for sale in the UK now. Yeah, is that the one with a blown gearbox? Finley, I can't do your links at the moment while I'm chatting, but I'll try and do that. I haven't got any footage of Ellie at the Haynes test track, I don't think. That was a Retro Rides meet some years ago, but I'll see what I can dig up. Do you still have the fabulous little Perodua? No, that's still with Rachel, who does the merchandise. So currently all the merchandise goes to the post office in the Perodua nipper. Oh, thank you, Scottish Car Enthusiast TV, another top-up for the T-Fund. Oh, Hatsu Sharad GTTI. That is a car I definitely want to do a video on. I drove one for Retro Japanese not all that long ago, and it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely loved it. Have you driven any cars made by Lakor South Africa? No, I haven't. I would like to. The Austin Apache is an AD016 based saloon I'd like to drive. But also the Orphe Victoria, which is a Spanish-built version of the same car. Giovanni Michelotti tweaked the styling of the AD016 to make them look like little Triumphs. Amazing cars. Must do a video on them. Have you ever driven Moskviches? No, sadly not. How do you deal with tailgaters? These days, I just tend to slow down to the point they go past and get out of my life. There's no point just deliberately holding up people. Tempted by a Daihatsu Sharad L250. Well, why not? Lovely cars. Do you like Triumph Acclaims? I do, and I know there's a really nice one for sale at the moment. Camry V6. Would love one of those. I think they're lovely cars. But I drove a Camry of that era in Australia. That test is still to come, but that was like the bottom of the range or fairly lowly spec. I didn't like that quite so much, so we'll get to that. Any updates on the City Rover? Still no. It's still stranded at the garage, awaiting work. Did the Lada sell? I'm not sure. I need to catch up with my mate and see. Have you heard about Sam Glover of Practical Classics? Yes, I'm friends with Sam. Sam has left Practical Classics, which is fairly big news, setting himself up to do vehicle repairs. But Sam Glover owns the most amazing collection of oddball cars you've never heard of. So I would like to meet up with Sam when all this is over and have a look at some of these incredible cars. Chaikas and Zaz Tavrias and all sorts of oddities. Yeah, I've got a road test coming on a Toyota Camry, I just said. So that will be coming. The problem is that test includes a Toyota Corona. And because of the whole YouTube getting jumpy about coronavirus, I've been keeping it out. But I think they've calmed down on that now. I don't think they're so anti mentioning that word. So hopefully that'll be all right. And if the sound disappears off this post-production, then we know they still have a problem with it. So it'll be a good test. But yeah, it's annoying that Toyota Corona has become such a problem, really. Bread van Polos, never driven one. But Volkswagens generally leave me a bit cold of that era. I think I prefer the rear engine ones because I'm odd. Yeah, a chat or a interview with Sam Glover would be good. But I don't think just doing a straight interview over the interwebs with Sam would really get the point across because I need to go and see his cars. Renault 11, yeah, I can probably do one of those. Alpha 33, I definitely have some Alfa Romeo plans. They've been slightly scuppered by circumstances, but I would like to do that, yes. Oh yeah, Lightburn Zeta. I never managed to find a Lightburn Zeta. I'm friends on Facebook with someone who owns one, but yeah, it's a shame that I didn't quite get to see him because Australia is huge. Can you voice over Toyota Mexican beer? Ah, maybe that's how we do it. First generation Suzuki Alto test. Yeah, I reckon that would be fun. Yeah, jolly fun little things. Oh, here's a question. Favorite BLMC color? I quite like Applejack myself. Is a color featured on the last of the Allegros and some early Metros. Some of the earliest Mark 1 Metros were available in Applejack. It's kind of an eye-piercing green. But I'll always have a soft spot for Tobacco Leaf, because I had a Tobacco Leaf Rover P6. You've ever driven a Fiat 126? Yes, but I haven't done a video on one. That needs to happen. Let's not get into Jeremy Clarkson crashing Reliant Robins, because that was all fake TV. Yeah, Fraser, yeah, I would love to do a test drive with a Samba once we're out of all this. I'm not taking emails at the moment, so let's wait until things open up again, and then I'll try and work things out. Oh, Fixed Drive Ridefly suggests the Mark 1 smart car as a future collector's car. Definitely. Robert Dunn, Aging Wheels, needs to just keep his. I'm sure it'll be worth money one day. I think because much like the Mini, the modern Minis, because they've just steadily got uglier and uglier, the first generation are going to become very popular, very cultish. Probably not for 10 years, but still worth holding on to one if you could get one. Thinking about buying a Citroen GSA for $6,000 in New Zealand. Well, that's about what I paid for mine, maybe a little less. And I'd say go for it, Nigel. There's a really good following for Citroens in New Zealand, because obviously you have to. You're miles away from France, so getting parts, working out the issues. Yeah, there's a good following there. So I'd get plugged in to that scene first. They may well know the car, so that would be my recommendation. How is George doing? Very well. Occasionally get pictures of him sat in boxes. So that's good. Ever driven an Azam, if that's how you pronounce it, microcar? No, I understand they're fairly dreadful. Got a friend who's got an electric one, and it's not been going very well at all. AU Falcon. Oh yeah, the Ford AU Falcon is definitely going to become a classic. I'd say interest is growing in those already. I suspect nice ones are being squirreled away, but there's still an awful lot of cheap old knackers running around in Australia. It's just good times over there generally, isn't it? Will you get a new pet? There is already a new pet in my life, and I was under pressure to include him in today's live stream, but he's a dog, and not necessarily interested in joining in, I don't think. A Peugeot 205 first car. Oh, lucky you. That is a great choice. Oh, I think I'm about to get invaded by a giant bee. I hope that'll stay away. That'd liven up the live stream, wouldn't it? Oh, Zetas were sold by Alfa Romeo dealers. Interesting. And have you ever found a Citroen Bijou? Yes, because I'm in the 2CV club, so there are a few survivors of the Bijou. I've driven one which had got a 602 Diane engine in it, I think. But that was pre-video days, and yeah, I need to do a video on one. Strange driving position. They were an interesting idea, the Citroen Bijou. Wow, Land Rover Series 3 is your first car. Well, if you can drive a Land Rover Series 3, you can drive anything. The dog is a Chihuahua Jack Russell Cross. It barks quite a lot. Favorite car based on the Tipo platform? Probably the Tempera Estate. That's the one. What is your favorite Commodore? Ooh, that's a tricky question. Favorite Holden Commodore? I'm not sure I really have one. I spent a lot of time driving around Melbourne in a VU Ute. That video is still to come. That'll probably be out next week. Although I haven't done the Chrysler Neon video yet, so that needs to happen first. So we'll get the Chrysler Neon video done. That might be Monday's video, because I'm going to actually have a rest tomorrow and actually have a day off and not edit a video. So that's what we'll do. Is it a Labrador? No, very much not a Labrador. Any pre-80s Holdens to look forward to, Reed? I'm afraid not. I didn't get my hands on any. I did go to an all Holden show, and again, that video can't be too far along in the scheme of things. So yeah, there will be some Holdens looked at, but not driven, sadly. It's another reason I have to go back to Australia, because I just basically didn't get hold of anything pre-1979 other than Leyland products. Of course, I was most interested in the Leyland products because they're the ones I know. Highest mileage cars, Australia or New Zealand? Well, kind of both, but Australia generally, because people just do massive miles to get anywhere. Oh, your first car was a Daewoo Espero. Wow. That's a car I'd very much like to drive, the Daewoo Espero, based on the Mark II Cavalier, but with a Bertone, I think. Body makeover. Yeah, I'd like to do one of those. Last time we saw a Mark I Fiat Ducato van. I'm probably cheating because I have friends who own a Mark I Fiat Ducato van. Again, would like to do a video on that at some point. Ever driven a Datsun 120Y? No, that's another one I really want to tick off. This is the problem. When I start listing the cars I want to drive, it's still a massive list. So it's good job we have plenty of time, isn't it? FSO Polonaise, there's another one I would like to drive. And I do have contacts who have such vehicles. How is the Tercel apart from the bodywork? It needs a CV joint, but otherwise seems to drive very nicely. So hopefully it won't need too much. Have you driven a Mark I Cavalier? Yes, but haven't done a video on one. Again, I've got one lined up, but it's right the other side of the country. Would like to do. Never seen an Alfa Romeo version of the Ducato other than in magazines and on websites. First car on Nissan Micra. Yep, K11 Micras. I'd like to do K10 and K11, to be honest. Oh, don't talk to me about Daihatsu Syrians. You'll get me all weepy again. Yeah, I missed my Daihatsu Syrian very much. That's one of my earliest videos. Go and flip my videos into date order the wrong way around. You'll find it's the third video, I think, on this channel. So that's that. Lancia Gamma would be lovely. Yeah. Have you driven a Sao Penza? Asks Michael David. No, and they're very rare. I know of one survivor. I know where that one survivor is. But yeah, I've never driven one. Jonathan Bramble misses my collection capers. So do I. I miss collection capers. They're so much fun. I just love that anticipation of sitting on a train, not knowing how the journey back home is going to go. But I've got too many cars at the moment. I need to just sort out what I've got. Oh, Francois is donating his Saturday cake fund. Too much in stock. We've got quite a bit of cake here yesterday. Here today, after yesterday. Have you driven a G-Wiz? No, I'll be very interested to, because I reckon that is a car I would find too dreadful. Seems quite easy. Would you have a Land Rover again? You're fitting a BMW diesel engine and auto box to your 110. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, get in touch when you've done that. Lotus Senator. It isn't Lotus Senator. Lotus Carlton is the car. Although a Senator with the Lotus Carlton running gear would be quite hilarious. Never driven one. Yes, there is a knackered Tercel in Bangor, still for sale on Facebook. And yeah, I haven't got anywhere to put it and nowhere transporting it and can't move at the moment. So nothing going on there. Ooh, Volvo C303 truck. That sounds most interesting. Yes, I need to get up to the Lake District again. Beautiful part of the world. To think, a year ago, I was just back from my trip up to the Lake District and the second Hubnut Social. Had a great meet-up at the Lakeland Motor Museum. That was a lovely trip. In the Rover 800, remember that? What do you think about Nissan Cube? Far too stylish for the likes of me, really, but they actually drive really nicely. Drove one back-to-back with my Honda NSX. NSX? No, SMX. Do you think you will buy an EV? I would like to buy an electric car, but at the moment, I can't charge one at home because I'm in a first floor apartment. So there you go. That makes life more difficult and proves one of the problems. Leyland Museum has been revamped. That's somewhere I must visit. Yeah, I would like to do more museum visits. They went really well, down really well in New Zealand. Have you ever driven a V6 Rover 75? I have, and it was a push me pull you with 2 front ends. But sadly, again, that was a magazine feature, not for video. I need to go and revisit the chap and do a full video on it. we were planning on traveling to the USA. Not once lockdown eases. No, it's not going to happen this year, but I do want to go to the USA. But I don't think now is really the time. Well, I can't go anywhere anyway. Hello from Adelaide. Oh, I just finished watching the duck video. That was so much fun. I'm still so grateful to the people of Rotorua Duck Tours who have thanked me for the video. They've had plenty of interest as well. Yeah, they were just so open. They were just like, yeah, come, you can drive it on a lake. And it was just like brilliant. So very, very grateful to them. Rover 75 V8 is a car I would very much like to drive. I think I'd prefer one to the MGZT version. Hubnut Social after lockdown, that's going to happen. But the problem is, I don't think gatherings are going to be allowed for some time yet. So we might get more freedom in being able to get out of the house. But it's going to be quite a while before we can have sizable gatherings. So, yeah, might be a problem. Have you driven an MGB? Yes, but not on camera. And in fact, I've driven many MGBs because I worked in the classic car media. You kind of had to do it all the time. So I've driven everything from early free synchro pull door handle MGBs right up to rubber bumpers, V8s, the lot. Thanos, I think this guy just made a Rover 75 convertible. He did, yes. Jerry Lloyd gets on very well with Practical Classics. And he had his coupe, Rover 75 coupe at the NEC back in March, I think that was. March last year. So someone spotted a base model Austin Ambassador. Wow. And he's got an Allegro and an Austin 1042. Clearly this man needs help. If you had £100,000 to spend on cars, what would you buy? Probably a lot of cars. A lot of cheap cars is what I'd do. That's the most hubnut American car you could do Route 66 in. What about, I don't know, Chevrolet Cimarron would probably be the most hubnut car, wouldn't it? That's kind of their Vauxhall Cavalier equivalent. Or one of the Chrysler Horizons, whatever they were sold as over in America. That could be good fun. Was it by chance or aware of the virus that stopped you being stuck far from home? Pure chance. The virus was starting to strike while I was in Melbourne. And even on the flight back, the plane was empty, the airport was empty. Very much the effects were starting to kick in. Oh yeah, the Cimarron was a Cadillac, sorry, not Chevrolet. And yeah, what he says, yeah, that's why I want to drive one. Pure hubnut. But I thought about America a lot, because at one stage I was wondering maybe I should ship Ellie over to America and have some adventures in her. And while I think that'd be amazing to do, the sheer scale of America means you want something big and V8. And it's another cliche, but something big and V8 is what I want. Something like late 60s, early 70s Chevrolet Impala, something like that would be absolutely amazing. Oh, thank you, Vidfletch, for that donation. That's very kind of you. Oh, yeah, Jay Leno's collection. I would love to go and see Jay Leno's collection because, while Jay Leno has his fair share of fancy cars, he's also fascinated by steam cars. He's a huge Citroen and Panhard fan. So, yeah, seeing his collection would be absolutely amazing. Oh, Motoring Box is here. Hello, Sean. Talking of AU Falcons, Motoring Box, go and check out his channel. He's based in Queensland, Australia, and has done quite a lot of videos on those and also the Commodores. He's very much looking at the hubnut era cars by Holden and others. So, yeah, hello there. Are Freelanders that bad? Yeah, Freelander 2s seem better. Freelander 1s, they do have transmission faults. They do blow head gaskets. The diesels also go wrong. The clutch is a pain because the slave cylinder is inside the bell housing and they do fail. So, yeah, they are terrible. Simone would love to see a Peel P50. So would I. I was actually looking at the kits. You can buy kits. Thinking, would that make a good video series to buy a kit Peel P50 and try and build it? But the kits are about £7,000, it turns out. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Oh, the questions are coming in thick and fast at the moment. I have no idea how many people we've got at the moment. 517 of you. 520 even. Wow, there you go. Wallace McGregor, if you went to America, you'd have to try meeting up with Cletus McFarland. Oh, yeah. That would be a dream. I'm seriously addicted to Cletus McFarland's channel at the moment. I think he does amazing stuff. I mean, he's just bought a racetrack, and now I'm watching someone sorting his drainage issues out on a racetrack. But he's really, really good at what he does, which is why he's got sort of about 2 million subscribers. Yeah, I do like that. USA in a 2CV should be a problem if you needed spares. No, you can get spares. I've got friends. I've got a friend in Detroit who's got a 2CV and a Diane, so you can always get over these things. Motoring boxes feature on the NC Fairlane. Yes, I think I haven't quite finished watching that. It was quite a long video. The Peel P50. Right. Let's give you a bit of history. There's a company that uses the original Peel name, the one that went on Dragon's Den. I've driven one of their electric ones, and it was terrible. The thing was falling apart even during our test drive. But there's another company, P50 Cars, I think it is, that also does kits and factory builds. So there's a few different companies making P50s. They can be road legal. Naturally, they're dangerous as well. Probably the most dangerous car you can drive. But what can I say? People like danger. I drive around in an Invacar, and that's pretty blooming dangerous. Oh yeah, Cletus has blown up Ruby again. No spoilers. I haven't watched that video yet. I want to get onto that. Oh, don't worry about it, Sean, about your videos being long. That's what they're like. It's just sometimes I don't have enough time to sit down. They're still short of a Musty Ones videos. I'm finding it increasingly difficult to make enough time to watch Musty One videos because they're often over an hour. It's just way too long. So that's not good times. Are you considering any changes in the fleet? No, I just want to fix what I've got at the moment. What car would you sell? Well, I can't sell any of them now, apparently. I mean, the City Rover was being lined up for a sell, but my girlfriend likes it, so I'll have to keep it. Do you watch Hoovy and Car Wizard? Hoovy, not so much. I will if he's driven something interesting, but he tends to go for higher end stuff I'm not interested in. And we'll watch the Wizard stuff as well. Lockdown interviews generally, I've kind of knocked the videos, lockdown interviews on the head. They've not been doing great for views, and while I'm not chasing views, it's just disappointing when you put so much effort into something but people don't watch. So I'm just sticking with the back catalogue for now, making new videos when I can. I'm not ruling out doing more interviews in future, but perhaps face-to-face interviews. It can be a bit more dynamic. We can walk around people's car collections. I would like to meet up with Paul Cowland and go around his car collection, so that'd be good times. Do you watch Mighty Car Mods? Indeed I do. I love the Mighty Car Mod stuff. Their trips to Japan, yeah, absolutely amazing. The one where they bought the Nissan March Super Turbo thing, absolutely wonderful. The way it was filmed just makes me want to go to Japan right now. Yeah, Motoring Box needs a lot more exposure. I would say so. He does great stuff. Have you seen Flipping Bangers? No, I haven't. I don't watch a lot of telly. Salvage Hunters Classic Cars is probably one of the only things I watch car-wise on telly at the moment. Would you grow your ponytail again? No. Pain in the backside. And why don't you shave your beard in an episode? People don't want to see that. Oh. Yes, they have got the March Super Turbo back in Australia. If you haven't seen the Mighty Car Mods videos on that March Super Turbo, it's incredible. It's called a Super Turbo because it has a supercharger and a turbocharger. The supercharger honks like a goose, and that cuts in at low revs to give it some boost and get around the turbo lag, and then the turbo takes over, the honk dies away, and it's all turbo, and then choo 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 choo, turbo flutter. So it's just brilliant. I could watch them accelerating in that car all day. Do you watch Skid Factory? Yes, Skid Factory I like very much. Yeah, I just like what they do. If you haven't seen their latest video yet, where they're road testing a Ford Fairlane with, I think it's a Lexus V8 with a turbo in it. Jeepers, it's quick. I seriously thought Al was going to bin it once the turbo cut in. Wow. Have you seen the young lady on YouTube painting her Volvo 940? No. I suspect everyone will be checking her out after this. Which is better, ZDOS 6 or ZDOS 9? I've only driven a 9, so I can't really comment. You need to get a 1/76 scale me. I feel very sorry for you. Emily Shields, okay, with her Volvo. Well, I'm going to check that out because painting Volvo seems a very fine thing to do. Yeah, don't talk about Chop Shop. That was bad telly. Just bodging up heaps. Ugh. Ever driven a Mitsubishi Charisma? Yes, I've driven a Mitsubishi Charisma diesel and found it all right. Probably wouldn't make a very exciting video, that would it? I drive a Mitsubishi Charisma and it's okay. Soup Classics YouTube channel, yeah, that's a good one. I don't watch all this stuff. I think he goes a bit too far with the fancy stitching work, and that ends up making his videos very long again. I've got a very short attention span. I should pay attention to this because perhaps lots of people have short attention spans. Maybe I should chop my videos up more. I don't know. The Volkswagen LT camper, I've got a friend who's got one, the earlier straight six big boxy type. Chap who owns the Hyundai Stella V8, which he's been tweaking over the winter, so I need to catch up with that car again. Would it be wrong to do a third test on that car? I don't think it would. Do I prefer restoring or driving cars? I'm all about the driving. I love reviving a car and taking a car like Tuk or Foxan that hasn't been on the road and bringing it back to life. But I'm excited because I want to take that car on adventures. So it's the driving I really enjoy. Oh no, Darren Velsatis is here. He's a Citroen Cactus fan, and unfortunately I am not. They're not a modern GSA. They don't ride anything like a GSA. Nowhere near the comfort level. What do you think Citroen AX is? Don't like driving position. Which car in your opinion is the worst car you've ever driven? I keep going back to the Isuzu Trooper, but I used to own a Mark 1, which wasn't good at anything. Oh, Capacula. Oh, thank you very much for that donation. If petrol engines were made illegal tomorrow, which of your cars would you convert to EV? The 2CV's got to be the strongest contender because I think that would be fairly easy to do. I think the Invacar probably wouldn't be too difficult either, but I would miss, what I love about the Invacar is its CVT. And well, I could just bin all that and then just put an electric motor in and off we go. It would seem a shame to lose that. FX4 Taxi, I'd quite like an FX4 Taxi. Citroen Saxo crash test. Well, there's loads of crash tests that look absolutely terrifying. Rover 100, Fiat Seicento, even the Daewoo Matiz would be an interesting one to see because I think they fold up quite readily. Your thoughts on the Union Jack flap they fitted on the Mini pickup on Salvage Hunter's classic cars? I don't think there's anyone but Drew who likes that. It was definitely not a good move and ruined what would have been a lovely looking little car, I think. So sorry, Drew, that was the wrong move. Oh, Nigel Hancock has come in with a meat donation. Thank you very much, Nigel. The small car fan, what do you think of the Honda Jazz? The Honda Jazz is kind of the Honda Fit in some markets. Yeah. Or are you on about the original one, the Honda City? I like those very much, the ones that you could get the motor compos in the boot of. The more modern Honda Jazz, generally driven quite badly by old people, I'm not so fond of. And I had a friend who had one and it ended up being massively unreliable and really, really problematic, which is not what you want from a Japanese car. Oh, Howard Levette's Betty mug has just arrived. Yes, thank you to everyone who bought a Betty mug. They sold out surprisingly quickly. Well, we only got a limited stock because we're obviously limited in space and everything, and we're not going to restock those Betty mugs because we've got other mugs we need to get back in stock more urgently. We've run out of Tuk mugs, for instance, so that's a problem. Problem with the Invacar would be fitting enough batteries to get any range. No, I don't think that would necessarily be a problem because you've got a fair bit of space around the front wheel. You could get a bit in there and you're improving the weight distribution. And I think you could get a few in the engine bay as well. I think that could definitely be done. Porsche 356A, any chance of a review of a Honda Beta and AutoZam AZ1? Would definitely love to do both, especially the crazy little AutoZams. They're amazing things. Yes, another Betty mug delivered. Yeah, thank you to Rachel and George. They've done Sterling work. Well, George mostly sat in boxes, but Rachel did sterling work. Darren Baker dragged a 214 out of a scrapyard and got it back on the road. Well done. That's what we need to do. We need to drag these cars out of scrapyards. I would love to do that. I have real desires of finding a car in a scrapyard and driving it out. Review on a classic Mini definitely needs to happen. Yeah, definitely needs to happen. Yeah, Rachel, George and new family all well, so thank you very much. Road test on a Honda Civic. Yes, I've got lots of Civics I could have access to. I'm a huge fan of the Mark III Civic myself. I think they're amazing. Civic 7 Gen. Yeah, 7th Gen is getting a bit modern, isn't it? For my liking. I'm much more, yeah, Mark 1, 2, 3. I've driven Mark 1, 2 and 4. I used to own a Civic 4. Lovely cars. Absolute riot. Twin carbs in 1990. 1.4 litre engine. Went like stink. Drove like it was on fuel injection. Amazing. Unfortunately, they rotted incredibly as well. But yes, roadkill is definitely inspiring my scrapyard dreams. Just more difficult to do here because in America it seems your car hasn't got to be that legal. You really can just dust something off and drive it out. 1974 Austin Marina. Oh, in Canada. Wow. Yeah, buy it, all the buying. It's a shame they didn't do the big 6-cylinder engines in Canada and America. I kind of helped thinking they would have been better, but never mind, eh? Bond Bug. I'd love to do a Bond Bug. I would love to drive Johnny Smith's Honda S600. I just need him to finish it, really, but it's getting there. He said he won't fit in it, so I've offered to drive it for him. I'll be happy. Matthew, your Focus is definitely missing a hub nut sticker. That's, yeah, definitely need to buy one. Stickers are £2 for the external, £2.50 for the internals, I think. And yeah, head to hubnut.org for a link to the shop. Hubnut neckties, that's probably something we need to do, but this is as formal as I get. I'm wearing a polo shirt. It's not even a Hubnut polo shirt. We do have them in stock, not all sizes, but we do have Hubnut polo shirts because not everyone wants a t-shirt. And people are often asking whether we're going to do different colours of t-shirt, but it's again a problem of stock. We just don't necessarily have the space to yeah, get that many items, stock lines. That's the phrase I'm after. I'm trying to read questions and speak to you at the same time, and I'm just saying words I'm reading. Worst car for rotting. Yeah, pretty much anything 1970s. They're all terrible. Apart from the Austin Allegro. Weirdly, Austin Allegros are one of the better cars for rot in the 1970s, whereas Datsuns, Fords, Vauxhalls, other British Leyland products, terrible for rust. Lancias, most famously, or Lancia, if you want to get it correct. Hubnut overalls, yes, that's been mentioned several times. I could do some overalls myself, so yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea at all. Do you like Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond and James May? Not so much, yes. I mean, I admire Jeremy Clarkson greatly because I think he is a very good writer, very talented man. But I don't think our personalities align. It's probably fair to say. We have very different thoughts on marinas. How many pies did you eat while in New Zealand? Lots. Oh, I still miss New Zealand pies. They are amazing. Australian pies were not as good as New Zealand pies. Isuzu Piazza. I know people with Isuzu Piazzas. I can probably do a video on one. I didn't even know the Holden Piazza was a thing until fairly recently, but they rebadged them so you could buy a Holden Piazza. But you could also buy a Holden Calibra. I didn't know about that either. So the Australia trip was definitely worth doing. Hubnut socks. There's an idea. Do you have a favourite two-stroke engine car? I think it's that Daihatsu Fellow Max. And my mate Eddie has bought one. And I'm absolutely thrilled about that. So he now has a Daihatsu Fellow Max. Very, very good of him. Oh, no, I've upset Australia by saying Aussie pies aren't as good as Kiwi pies. Yeah, it's all going to kick off now. The Tasman battle over the best pies. Maybe I got unlucky in Australia, but I'll tell you what, a kiwi steak and cheese pie is a fine, fine thing. What was the location that sticks in your mind? Well, it's kind of the variety of New Zealand is what I enjoyed. So that I just generally liked all of it. Big Jono asks how I keep in shape. I don't know. My girlfriend is a feeder. She's always making cakes. And I don't know how, frankly, I'm surviving and why I'm not enormous. I have to get out for the exercise. And here in Wales, our exercise restrictions have been opened up. We can get around more. You're welcome to review my 1981 Mini City when it's rust-free. Yeah, we know where the joke is in that one, don't we? But I kind of love to. Those early 80s minis are kind of my favourites. They're like the least fashionable mini is my favourite mini because Hubnut. We used to have Rachel's Daily was a 1984 Mini City E. So that had the benefit of front disc brakes, the 12-inch wheels, but still had a central speedometer. And it was a nightmare in the rain for obvious reasons. It rotted away, so we restored it. And then we had to sell it because we moved to Wales. And yeah, it was just bad times. Yes, Holden did rebadge pretty much everything. Yeah, lots of Daewoo as well, Suzuki's. Yeah, Suzuki Ignis was a Holden of some sort. Would you like to drop a marina on Clarkson's head? No, it'd be a waste of a marina. Rear views of Hubnut cars on Y fronts where you provide your own exhaust pipe. Maybe not. Was the Viva HC the most depressing car ever? It's probably one of the more disappointing cars I've driven, the Viva HC. I far prefer the Chevette. What annoys me most about driving the Viva HC is everyone going, no, the Chevette was a replacement for the Viva. It wasn't. The Chevette sold alongside both the Viva and the Astra. It was kind of more an entry-level version, which is a bit weird when the Viva was meant to be the bottom of the range car. Keyrings Veliant. Yeah, keyrings are something we keep on looking into. We just haven't quite found the right one to work for us yet, but yeah, we're still doing it. Does the meat man announce his arrival? No, he's booked in, and he usually gets in about 1:30, which is why I need to finish this live stream fairly soon and go and get some meat, and that'll keep us going for the week. Holden Cruise, yes. Although there was also a Chevrolet Cruise, which was a Holden Cruise. So yeah, all sorts of weird things going on with names. Really, I think Holden was kind of done for by General Motors forcing all these weird cars from around the world on them and forcing them to use Holden badges. Never more so with the final Commodore, which was an insignia. It was kind of the ultimate insult. You wonder whether they did it deliberately. Chevette was just a Cadet with a nose job, Aaron, but it also had a different engine. The Opel Cadets had Opel engines. The Vauxhall Chevette had the 1256cc Viva engine, but still the same torque tube and much better rear suspension. So Chevette drives much better than a Viva, despite having the same engine. No indicator test on the Great Wall. I did test the hazard lights, I believe, but I didn't include footage of the lights at the end. That's very true. That Great Wall test drive was a horrendous one to do because it was filmed in Devonport in Auckland, which is like a separate island, and really congested. I really struggled to find somewhere to film the car, and in fact some of the road sections were actually filmed before the walk around. I had to do a separate walk around because the first one got interrupted. I was massively stressed out, so that's how that ended up. Aha, here's Neil. Hello, Neil. I met Neil the other day. He was driving a bus. Optare Solo, would that make an interesting road test video? My friends in the bus scene don't have much good to say about Optare Solos. And but yes, good to meet you. Oh, he's bought a classic Citroen. Oh wow. Oh well, do tell Neil, what did you buy? Let's have a live reveal of what Hubnutter has bought. That'll be good times. Min Driven Car Club is documenting the Mini restoration. That's a good idea. I'll try and check it out, but people are always sending me links of interesting stuff, and there's never enough time to watch everything, is the problem. Will you ever try a Fiat Panda 4x4 in the snow? I would love to do that. That'd be a brilliant test. Ah, hello, Western Australia. another part of that massive country I didn't make it to. Did you prefer driving the Holden or Ford Utes down under? I didn't drive many Ford Utes, which was a shame. I kind of had a late Ford Ute lined up, and I was like, brilliant, I'll be able to do a head-to-head with Holden I was driving at the time, but it fell through at the last minute, and this was in the final days of the trip, so there was no comeback from that. On the plus side, I ended up, because of that falling through, I met up with Peter Anderson and his amazing cars, and I'm be glad to get those videos out in the next couple of weeks, and that was really, really good. I was very glad to meet him. MCW ASAP, I can't promise anything's going to be ASAP. Cetras with was it Mercedes-Benz V8 engines in the Cetra coaches? They always sounded amazing. Have you ever owned a Subaru Forester? No, but I borrowed one in Tasmania. That's another test in the massive backlog still to come. Still about 30 videos from New Zealand and Australia to come. I think only one from New Zealand now, so I must apologise to the owner of the Land Rover Stage 1 V8 that I still haven't published a video of. I think that is the final one still to come from New Zealand, and then it's purely Australia. I'm starting to realise just how long it took, or just why I ended up so broken in Australia. I was just recording so many road tests. Would you move to New Zealand to live full time? I don't think I would, just because there's too much in Europe I like. I wouldn't like to be quite so far away from it. Visiting UK scrapyards would love to do if people would actually let me in. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to call it quits there. That's an hour done already. So thank you once again for joining. Thank you to all those who donated via the super chat. Super chat rather. That's very kind of you. Don't forget you can visit the store hubnut.org. We are still trading. The post office is still sending stuff, so we can send stuff all over the world. So head to hubnut.org. Don't forget we have Foxan mugs that no one wants. If you don't want a Foxan mug, we have other mugs, but please buy Foxan mugs. And yeah, we'll get that done. Will you playlist Oz and New Zealand on your channel? I have a New Zealand and Australia playlist. I've chucked all the road tests in there as well. Maybe that was a bad idea and that makes it difficult to follow the progress. So I'll probably need to look into that. But yeah, that Foxanne is indeed awesomeness. You are quite right. Fixed drive ride fly. I can't wait to dig her out again and get her fixed. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, do check out the channels. We've got to go and find Emily and her Volvo that she's painting. You must also check out Motoring Box. But generally, yeah, have a nice time, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell. And now you get to stare at my hand while I try and work out how to stop it.